yeah, back to what I was saying. Sorry about that, guys. I love technology. Um, when you do something for a really, really long time, you fall into something that is called complacency.
Just keep going. I'm sure they can hear you.
No, there's nobody in the chat right now.
Yeah.
We will get there. There we go. A couple people are finding us. All right. You know what? I'm gonna just keep working here for a few minutes until everybody catches up to what we were doing. All right, I gotta grind. Probably people texting me. Where's your stream? Do.
Well, I said there's a new stream up, so hopefully some people can figure out how to get around it.
Right. Take this. I'm gonna use a sander and just do.
Yep, you got people streaming in now.
4.
Go figure, it's in the middle of our PSA that we gotta cut out. So now we have to wait for everyone to kind of trickle back.
It's not okay, what I'm doing. It's still too long. Oh, it's way too long. Way too long. People trying to call.
Seal's asking what kind of stuff this is.
So we're waiting for everybody to come over from the other stream, which died a horrible death. This is a Russian Oscar II in 196 scale. You know, actually, what would be super interesting while you do that, I'm gonna grab the glue back. So this, just for for interest. So this is a 96 scale Oscar II. This is a 196 scale US blueback. So the boat you could probably put like 4 bluebacks in the same hull as a 96 Oscar, just to give you guys an idea of scale, because these things are huge. Yeah, so this is Merriman's 196 blueback. Absolutely gorgeous. Complete with bird poop on the rudder.
Your other streams.
The other stream is still going, apparently. All right, well, with that being the case, this goes here like this. There we go. And we got our linkage tower. So we were waiting to install the linkage tower until this centralized the cylinder and locked everything down. Now we can install the linkage tower, and this is basically just a flat piece of brass with an 1/8 inch rod that goes on the inside, so the whole shaft's going to spin like this. We'll put that in here in the back, like this. Probably back here. Like so. So what I need to do is extend the linkage for the rudders. And right now it's a piece of 1/16 brass. And so the way I would typically do that is just sleeve it with some 3/32 brass tube and then put another extension of 1/16 brass out the front. You got any more of these bolts? Cut our only one too short. So sleeve it with a 1/32 or 3/32 brass. Put this in here like this. Other thing I wanted to point out to everybody is what we got underneath here. This is a trick I learned from David Merriman, and I don't know how I got away with things as long as I did without doing this, but is a towel. And keep lots of them here, but you can just shake it out. And the idea behind this, obviously, it protects the finish of your boat. But the other thing is, if you drop stuff, it's easier to see, and it stops it from rolling around on you. So I highly recommend grabbing some cheap towels from like Walmart or Amazon and using them as a work surface when you're building your boats. All right, I'm gonna put this thing right here. So I gotta build a little switch over right there. So we'll pull this out, give her a little bend. What do we got in there? All the other 1/8 inch brass tube. Yep. If anybody needs 1/8 inch brass tube, we're now set up really well because we forgot that we had a bunch already. So now we have lots. All right, I like this placement. I'm gonna mark it, grind it, glue it. So it's really important when you guys are working with like an epoxy hull that you rough up all the surfaces that you're going to be gluing to. I don't think you're going to be able to get that in there. I think we'll just use some coarse grit sandpaper. Take this off. And of course, doing so exponentially increases the surface area that the adhesive can bind to.
And just black stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Store. Yeah.
Okay. Make stands from polypropylene packing foam. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hey, yeah, public service announcement. Back to it now that everybody's here. When you do something for a really, really long time, you tend to get into a state of complacency. Because you've done it so many times that you think you know what you're doing. You don't need to, think through the process because you're doing it by reflex. Case in point, safety glasses. You're like, I just need to snip this one little end off a piece of brass, or I just need to grind this one little piece of brass tubing. That 1 second of complacency is what's going to make you go blind without some safety glasses. So 100%, and I've told both of these guys if they see me doing that to call me out on it before I do it, hopefully. But yeah, do not take for granted your safety glasses, especially your safety glasses, but all of your safety gear. Super important. So there you go. My little tip for everyone. Don't be complacent. And as a pilot, I can tell you, it's easy to do, especially for old pilots. I've flown with old pilots, and it's amazing how many shortcuts they take. All right, let's get this back on here. Double check our settings. That goes like that. Now we're going to do some soldering. So here's another little tip. So we're gonna solder this in here, and rather than taking everything out and apart, which is probably what I should be doing, we're gonna cheat. And we're going to use this sheet of super thin copper to act as a heat barrier so I don't burn the hull. So Jason's just going to use some liquid flux, and he just screwed up all of our alignment on the back and the front. We'll do the back first. There we go. Little bit of solder, front and back. No, nothing burned, nothing caught fire. So I'm going to double check, make sure my rudders are centered. Now I've got about a 1/2 inch of extra I'm going to use on both sides for adjustability. Snip that free. And we can thread this through. Yeah, our plate did come off. Ouch, it's hot. There we go. Good, good, good. Do 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 do. Okay. So we got about 1/8 of an inch of room in between there, so that's not going to get interfered with at all. The other thing that we're going to need to do here, by the looks of it, is build a support bracket for the top, because this is going to be too wiggly. And we can do that super easily with, let's see here. Like, we'll need another 1/8 wheel collar, maybe two 1/8 wheel collars. Oh, look at that. Like it was meant to be. This is going to go here like this, right through to the back. Like that. If you guys see me doing something and you got a better idea, by all means chime in. I am just doing things the way that I do them, which is not necessarily the best way, but it's a way. So we want to make sure that this is all removable. We need to I think too often people get complacent with using adhesives with glue. And something that I'm being really cognizant of lately is the idea of making things removable. And Dave Merriman was always really good about this, like being able to unbolt things. Can you drill an 1/8 inch hole there and an 1/8 inch hole there? Other thing I want to note, like all of these linkage horns and all the wheel collars, we're using stainless set screws. They come with steel, and it's easy just to use them, but if you ever want to get them apart again, you got to swap those out for stainless. In the meantime, I can grab some click-on. Magnetic connectors. All right, this is done. This is going to slip on like this. It'll go on like that, and it'll attach at the back here. This can go up here like this.
Rod too.
We're just gonna drill it and tap it for an M3 bolt. And then this will hold this will hold this, and because all of the force is going to be parallel to the longitudinal line of the boat there, in theory this is going to all work. In theory. We'll see. That wasn't set up properly here. I'm going to adjust that. Anyhow, can you mark that? It's too low. It can't go too high either. It can't go flush. It's got to be down. There's a lip. Okay. Let's loosen this, we'll take it out, and then we'll pop that right out, so we're not fighting it. Complete disassembly. This one, there we go. There we go. That's not the right size. That's not the right size. Here we go. Here we go. I'll loosen this off a little bit. There we go. Nice and loose. All right, this goes back on. That goes in there. Before we do this, we'll pull this out here and put this in here. Get in. There we go. All right, center. Center, tightened, screwed. Don't like this sticking out, we'll trim that.
Since no one's been talking for a bit, if anyone wants to say in the chat, if you guys appreciate this style of streaming, if we should keep it up.
Yeah, there's a question for you guys. Like Logan said, this is like our experiment. So this could be like a regular deal, and we could do topics. You know, if someone has a specific question or whatever, we can queue it up. But is this worth doing on the regular basis, or is it just kind of cool to stop in once and see what's going on here? Need your feedback. Got that. Need a 16-bit. So this is our magnetic click-on connector. Put that like that. I don't like that sticking together like that. I wonder if I were to switch this for the other one, if it would push it apart. Nobody's interested.
No, it also paused it because my headset died.
Oh.
So it might have said something. It's a little hard to tell.
I don't know. Let's see. Let me put my big finger in here. Nope. Nobody's talking. Nobody cares. Nobody loves us. That goes there like that. Get a 16th rod. All right, there's a question in here from Matthew about materials not good to go next to each other. Aluminum and brass don't like, well, here, that'll actually work really good. Kind of don't like each other. When you put them together, they end up like oxidizing. That's probably not the right term.
Corroding?
Yeah, I don't know if it's corroding, but anyhow, what'll end up happening is you get this like white buildup inside, and they'll fuse. So, if you were, for example, doing a like an aluminum tube with a brass insert, they'll end up fusing together. Not cool. Don't ask me how I know. The other thing that you're talking about, magnets. Magnets are fine. Now, the issue is you got to make sure that they're coated. These are coated magnets, and you don't want to nick or scratch that coating. Otherwise, they will corrode. There, that was easier than I thought it was going to be.
Where was the other motor? Okay.
So now I guess we got to try this out and see. Why do we not have? Okay, hold on a second. We gotta catch up here. Out of interest, why do we not have any drain holes in the hull? Because we haven't got there yet. This hull was provided to us by a customer. This isn't a new build, by the way. This was given to us. And when we got it, it was in like 4 pieces. The whole stern had broken off, the reactor intakes had broken off, the sail had broken off, everything. The periscope mounting bracket had broken off. So this is a repair in progress. Drain holes can always obviously be added at any time. In the bottom of this, I'll show you what's going on there. Let me switch this around. Oh. So inside are a bunch of those. They're little like 1/4 inch holes with photo etched detail covering them. They look like this. Oh, here's from the side. You can see that better. Hold on. Let me focus. There you go. That's what they all look like. So that is not sufficient by any stretch of the imagination for proper drainage. If you do things properly, obviously you want to make this thing look nice. You'll have a series of rectangular openings in the bottom that would allow water to get out. In my experience, unless somebody is flipping your boat over to look at the bottom and see how accurate it is, I typically put big, like 1/2 inch or even bigger, like 5/8 drain holes all down the boat. And that's really important for putting it in and taking it out of the water to make sure that it floods properly. So, yeah, that's what we got going on. This, we haven't run any of the cables or anything like that, so we can't run the, test the servo outputs. So yeah, we can adjust all of that later. But this linkage is done now. So from a linear perspective, that's really strong. So we just need to, oh, look at that. I think that's going to work really good. These magnets have a ton of connective force. The big ones do. You can't use those in all models, but if you've got the room, then obviously go with the big ones over the small ones. makes getting your cylinder in and out really, really easy. All right, that is that. Drive shafts. We could do the drive shafts. Those are, I think, on the front, sitting on the shelf. So there's probably 20 inches between the propeller and these motor outputs here. We just got to use the existing, don't bend those, drive shafts, which are pretty long.
Big ass hit.
And, oh, this is broken. Look at that! Pin sheared off. Can you see that, guys? There we go. Focus. Anyhow, yeah, the pin's broken off the dog bone. That's super exciting. So we'll use the good side in the back. Oh man, this is all kinds of messed up. Okay, here's another little conversation about things. So this was given with the boat. Okay, the previous builder did this. It looks like he pinned it. All right, but I can spin this dog bone with my fingers. So that's stupid. And then this one's broken.
Double check this one. This one's good.
So we're gonna have to drill and pin this, and then, you know what, we're gonna drill and, well, we have to make sure, okay, there's a pin, there's a stainless pin there and a stainless pin there.
We're good in these.
Okay, so you're gonna drill this one out and put a 16th brass pin in there. But what I was getting at, a lot of times, many times, every time, it turns out to be more work to pick up where someone else left off than it is to start over from scratch. Now, there's exceptions, there's good builders out there, but for the most part, when you get a boat, if you buy like a used one off of like eBay or the SubSwap forums, make sure you know who built it. You're gonna break a bit. Because if they did not do a good job, your work, the amount of work that you're going to need to put into this thing is going to be so much more painful an experience than it might need to be otherwise. We're going to have to round these edges here too. Don't like sharp edges. Oh, that's so pretty. Very good. I think I saw something pop up. Could you coat magnets with silicone? I suppose, but that you want to, yeah, you want plated magnets. I don't get just like the bare magnets. Do it properly. Get the coated ones. My chat keeps going away on me. Caveat emptor. Yeah, exactly.
You want to replace this one?
Silicone tubing for, yeah, we have to. For couplers. I've done that before, but only in smaller boats, Andy. I tend to like the mechanical universal joints a lot better than the silicone tubing. And what Andy's talking about, and I could show this to you real quick. So silicone tubing, you get like a little section of it, And let's make some fake drive shafts. Do. So we're going to pretend these are the two ends of my drive shaft. Got the silicone tubing here. We're just going to press fit it on one end and press fit it on the other end. I usually leave like 1/8 of an inch in between, but now you've got this, you know, bendable shaft here. So you've got this coupler, and it literally costs you like a nickel's worth of silicone tubing. The only thing that I found though is over time, and when we're talking like a year or two, this rubber will loosen up, and then your shaft can slip. So it's going back to it. In small boats, it's probably okay, and particularly in areas that you've got good access to. All right. If you don't have good access to it, like in the Seahund I have over there, a mechanical connection is probably going to be more reliable ultimately than you know, the silicone tubing. As a point of interest for anybody who is interested in it, the other thing that you can do is okay. You can use silicone tubing as a seal. Something to cut this stuff with, like a knife. Usually want, say, you know, like 3/4 of a centimeter sticking out there. Pretend this is your linkage rod, okay? So you're gonna have a brass bushing, a brass sleeve that the silicone tubing is gonna go on, and you can press fit the linkage through it. Now you've got linear or rotary seal around the outside. You can also put a tie strap around the outside, but you shouldn't have to. Engel did this a lot back in the day, and I think they've kind of steered away from it, but it actually works really, really good. And you can see how much surface area is engaging the linkage rod if you use clear tubing. So this is another way of doing a linkage seal. This just threw this together like super fast. You just want to make sure that the silicone tubing is pretty tight against your linkage rod there. So there you go. You learned something today. I don't use that very often, but the option is there. All right. So now we get to try and put these in. And by the way, I wouldn't do it this way if I had my Carruthers. Does that make sense? If I had my Carruthers. I don't use that word very often. Let's see if this is. All right, that's engaged. We're gonna have to move this rod. Take this rod out. It is interfering with my interference. So we need to shorten our drive rod, our drive shaft. So we're just going to go like this. After you did all that work, we're just going to put new ends on it anyway.
Thanks.
Yep, no problem. And then we need to make some 4mm dog bone adapters. If we've got those 1/8 inch, do we have any of the 1/8 inch brass dog bone adapters? Are we out? All right. All right. So we're just basically going to put a dog bone coupler on the back here of these 4mm output shafts, size the shaft accordingly, and then drop the dog bone in there. See, now I don't like this. This keeps like falling out. I would have put a universal joint in the back there so that that always stays connected and it'll never fall out. Because you know what's going to end up happening. You're going to be at the pond. You're going to be messing around with this. It's going to come out. You got to stick your face way down deep in your own boat.
I found one.
We need two. There's 2 motors. There we go. So yeah, I wouldn't have done it that way. I'm gonna take this out. Do. This was like a support bar that we put on the inside there to stop this linkage from falling down when it's disconnected, but really it's just...
That's two.
Okay. 4.5 millimeter bore on both of those. And once we get those in place, we will be able to size our shaft. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is machine a flat on both of these shafts. I know Dave was kicking himself in the ass last time he came out here to run boats with us. I think he had said, or maybe it was somebody else. Anyhow, no flat, and then the shaft disengaged. So you want to have a flat in any coupler situation that you're putting yourselves in. There we go. So while he's working on that, just a couple of like little tools. Well, not little tools. There's some bigger tools.
I have a little tool.
Yeah. This, I use like, well, I should switch my camera around. This, I use almost all the time. This is a little like miter saw for metal. And it's got these little like cutoff blades inside. And we use it for cutting tubing. I glued a ruler on here with metric measurements, Dave, so that we can cut, perfectly uniform bits and bobs using that. So it's totally worth it. It's a Microlux miter cutoff saw doomerhickey thing. Milling machine, I actually use surprisingly a lot now that I have one. Up until that point, you kind of like cheat and you do it however you think you can get away with it. But now that we have it, and then a little mini lathe. This Jason's gonna bore out our little collars there. Because it's 1/8, and we need to convert them over to 4 millimeter output shaft for the brushless motors. Okay. Brand of saw. Ed, were you talking about my little cutoff saw? That was the Microlux thing. It was in there. You can go back and see it. Okay. Let me get this thing stuck back up again. What's going on here? There we go. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to say like maybe another 5 minutes or so. We'll keep streaming because I've actually got a customer coming here to pick up a cylinder, and I need to be there to take his money. So if you have any burning questions, now's the time. I like Dave's suggestion, about topics or a specific process. We can certainly do that. It's just got to kind of fit in with our build schedule because we're trying to keep working here, obviously, so that we can earn money and keep the doors open. So your last chance, type away. And again, show of hands, should I continue doing this, or is like a one-off deal good enough? Build party at the shop. Yeah, man, we were talking about this. We need to do a build party at the shop. You remember like when we had, for the trim party, we had like
8 people.
8 people in here?
Boats everywhere.
Let's just put it on the calendar. We need to pick a date. We'll put a collection box by the front, like an admission fee. You got to buy tickets.
Oh, we got 2 votes for once a month.
Okay. We can do that. So Ed, we're gonna set up a schedule for the build party. I would do it monthly.
No reason not to.
It's hard though. I mean, a lot of some. Oh, ouch! That feels really good. Some people need to drive like 3 hours, 4 hours to get out here, but it's all good. All right, sounds good. We'll do it. All right. All right, good stuff. Everybody's saying yes. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull this sucker down. Well, with that being the case, we are gonna do some more of these live streams. There we go. Coming up. Thanks for joining me. I think for the first time, it was fairly well attended. Next time we'll have specific things that we will be working on, so that you know in advance what we will be working on, if that makes sense. Maybe we'll do like a whole layout. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah. All right. With that, I think we are going to sign off. Thanks everyone for joining us. It's Bob, Jason, and Logan with the Nautilus Dry Docks. We'll catch you next time.
Ah, press the button.